Happy to be joined by the double champ, Billy Goff, who's going to be making his Dana White Contender Series debut August 2nd. Billy, how's it going, man?
Good. I'm doing well. Feeling good. Feeling healthy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. No one asked how I'm doing, but I'm doing well, man. And I just want to start first. Today's Thursday. What does sort of end of the week look like for you? Is it still ramping up training, or what does like a typical Thursday look like for you?
Yep. So tonight's grappling. So we do jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and then we go live rolling. And then I practice tomorrow night as well. I practice Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday I do stuff on my own, but I don't go to the gym and practice.
Yeah, no, you need that balance, which is definitely key. I mentioned off the top there, man, huge opportunity here on Dana White's Contender Series. Tell me how this all came together. When did you find out?
Yeah, so when I signed with my agency Iridium, after I won the second CES belt, we had talked. He's like, "Listen, I could definitely get you on the Contender Series," and right around like the beginning of May, he was like, "All right, looks like we're going to be doing this," and they also offered a couple short notice fights, so we were kind of deciding between them. My coach thought this was the best option, so we went with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was surprised you weren't outright signed. You got 9 fights, you got 2 belts. I mean, that's usually more than enough credentials to get in the octagon. But I guess at the same time, about this fight. You get a really long camp. You kind of get a lot of time to prepare. Is this in some ways a little bit better than that short notice opportunity, which, oftentimes doesn't go that well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big thing that my coach was saying, because like when they offered me the short notice ones, it's like, "Hey, this is a 4-fight contract right here. Like, this is it. What we want." But he's like, "Listen," because I wasn't training at the time that much when they offered them. So I was like, "All right, these are guys that are good. You want to camp for them. Let's just slow down a little bit. I've already done a lot. I'm young. There's no need to keep rushing and rushing and rushing. Just take it slow and go the right route." So doing what my coach thinks is best.
Was that a tough decision though? I mean, they give you the UFC fight. You're like, oh man, like I'm in. But, obviously I know you're confident in your skill set that, going to Contender Series, it doesn't matter who you fight, you can get the win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I going into the short notice or the contenders, I was confident in my abilities. So it was, and my biggest concern was like I wasn't quite sure like how likely it is that you could win and not get the contract. Like, you have to have a boring fight. If you have an exciting fight, then you're probably going to get your contract. And so that's just what it comes down to.
I was looking at your record, man. At one point, you were like 2-2 in your career, and since then, you've racked off just this incredible winning streak. What was the difference there? Like, if you can, is there anything that you can kind of pinpoint as to the success you've had as of late?
Well, I stopped being vegan. That was
okay.
Yeah, that changed. I was when I was fighting at 170, a lot of people told me that I should have gone back down to 155, like early in my career, because I wasn't as filled out for a 170 pounder. Now I cut more weight. Now I'm a little bigger, so it's a little easier being at 170. And I also just made some adjustments in my life. Like, I was keeping people in my life and doing things that I shouldn't have done that gave me the best opportunity to be the best I can.
Okay.
And so I just had to make some adjustments. And I'm not going to say I was losing my fights because of that. It is what it is. But it's good that it happened. It kind of put me on a good path.
How tough was it being a vegan? Like, I know, because you got to be pretty creative with the meals, and you got to get enough, obviously you're training all the time. You got to make sure you're getting enough fuel. How difficult was it?
It was annoying. Like, I didn't feel good. That's why I stopped. I did it for 4 years. I did it for my career and some of my pro career. And I didn't feel good. Didn't recover that well. I still had good cardio, but I didn't feel as strong. I didn't feel like I do now. When I started adding meat back in, I just felt better. I started recovering better. So it was a huge change. Like, and plus being a kid, like living on my own, you gotta have a little more money to have like a well-balanced vegan diet.
I know Whole Foods is not cheap, man. I've been there. It's you're paying a hefty penny for some good quality food, right? So.
Canned beans and canned vegetables.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, that's crazy. So what type of diet are you on right now, or what do you sort of eat during camp?
So now it's more so like I eat a ton of vegetables. I eat a salad every day, chicken. I like adding bison in. I eat pasta with some beef, and I just take everything and I make it smaller, split everything up so I'm hungry longer. Normally, like, the first thing I do to start losing weight in the camp is I don't eat after practice, because I usually practice around 7:30. So I end up fasting a little bit every day. And that helps me start dropping weight a lot.
Yeah, it's like a proven fact that you do intermittent fasting. If you're doing it properly, of course, you will lose weight. It is better. I mean, there's so many studies of the benefits of it and everything. Obviously, you got to eat good, though, to go into the fast. Some people get confused with that. They're like, oh, man, I didn't lose any weight. Well, what are you eating before the fast? You're eating like junk food, then obviously it's not going to work, right? So you got
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. And
I was fun.
I had to adjust because I would eat like a sandwich, like it's almost a meal after practice. And you take that out and you don't add it back in during the day, you're losing out on energy. You could burn more and eat the same if you were to just move stuff around and be smart about it.
Yeah, no, well said. Okay, so people don't think this is a cooking show. We do have to talk about your fight at some point. Your opponent, 8-1 record, or sorry, 7-1 a record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I've watched a couple of his last fights. He's younger. He's actually one of my first opponents that I'll be fighting that's younger than me. But he's good, and I don't think he's as good as I am. I don't think he's been tested like I have. Like when I was 2-0 as a pro, I went and fought somebody who had 10 fights already, and I was fighting for a belt, and I went 25 minutes. Like he doesn't have that kind of experience. And outside of that, if you just watch our fights, I don't think he has the technique to match. So he's good, but I just think I'm better. I think that's gonna.
And what about training camp? Who've been some of the main guys that have helped you get ready for this fight?
My biggest, my main training partners are Jake Kasky, Austin Shala, Brennan Ward's been coming down helping me. I've got some old other buddies coming down wrestling, getting extra work. My coach, my jiu-jitsu coach, Kirkor Papazian, my main coach, Michael Dexter, he does the most. He does so much for me. It means like having all these guys around me, it's helping a lot.
Yeah, it's like a super team, man. It's great. How's the weight cut going now? I know we got a little bit of time, but how's everything going?
It's good. The time I had that I thought I had till the fight was I wasn't paying as much attention to it right at first, but I've kind of made it work, and I'm at a good place right now. So I feel good, and I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Who's going to be in the cage with you that night for the Contender Series fight? Who's going to be in your corner?
My coach Dexter and Austin Shala. Yeah.
I know you feel like you're going to get your hand raised, otherwise why sign the contract? But how do you see the fight playing out on August 2nd?
There's not many times that I've felt this way about fights, just because in my head, I always picture the fight's going to go 25 minutes. Like I prepare myself for 25 minutes of a terrible, grueling fight. And if it's anything else, then all right, it's going to be better. But I genuinely see this. I see myself putting him out.
We often hear too about jitters, being in the Apex, fighting on Contender Series and stuff. But you fought, for CES, which is a pretty big regional promotion. It's on Fight Pass. Like, how much do you feel like that experience? Just forget about the competition, which is stiff in itself. People got to go look up your record, but just having to have those walks as well, big crowd and everything. How much is that sort of paying dividends in this opportunity?
I think it's huge, especially like when I fought for Bellator at Mohegan, and they had 10,000 people in there. So it's like I've been in some, and like there's all kinds of different situations. Somebody doesn't play your music, you warm up a little bit, your timing's off for your fight, things move around. Oh, I forgot my mouthpiece. Oh, I forgot this. So you get used to just like anything could happen. Doesn't matter what happens. So I don't think being in the Apex, being out in Vegas, I don't think any of that's gonna affect me.
Are you a guy that kind of keeps an eye on the UFC's welterweight division? Obviously that's your weight class here. Do you kind of keep tabs and say, hey, look, like when I get in there, this is how things are going to go? Like, are you kind of a what's the word? Like someone who keeps tabs on everything.
So that's one thing I got to do better of. Actually, I got to be more of a student of the sport. Keep track of stuff, watch more film, because it's something that I haven't done nearly enough. I've been fixing it actually this camp, but for most of my career, I barely watch any film on my opponents even. It's just a bad habit. But so yeah, I don't really pay attention that much, but there's a UFC card on the 20th. So hopefully we can just hop on that one.
Yeah, just kind of do a two-step into it. That'd be good. So do you watch a lot of fights though, or do you kind of doing other stuff with your downtime?
I kind of do, because I work full time.
What do you do for work?
I work at Electric Boat. It's a company that builds submarines for the Navy.
Awesome.
So I my schedule's pretty booked up. Like I'm doing 40 hours there, 20 hours of training. and then just basic human stuff outside of that, laundry and shit.
Right. Yeah. Not too much downtime. How has it been balancing that with training camp and everything?
It's not so bad because I have my supervisor's cool, so I have a pretty flexible schedule. Like if I need to work a little less this day or a little more, so I can go to the doctors or do this, or they're pretty comfortable with that. So it hasn't been too terrible. It just you don't have much time for other stuff, so it adds up. You get tired.
Yeah, no, yeah, it makes sense. And kind of on that note as well, like, is it something that like does the work sort of decrease a little bit getting closer to fight time, or will you work right up until you have to leave?
I'll work up. So we leave Saturday, so I'll work up until Friday. I'll work my 40 hours.
Good for you, man. That's great.
What I try to do is so I don't want to use time because I want to keep my time for other stuff if I want to go do something one day. So if I get back on Wednesday. So that means I'll go to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm going to try to work 12, 12, 12. So I've only got to use 4 hours of time.
Wow. Okay. You got it all figured out. That's good. Do you think you'll still keep this job even in the UFC as well? Or are you planning to kind of taper down a bit?
My plan is to, once I get that first UFC fight, that's my 2 weeks notice. Here you go.
Good for you.
I leave, that's what I'm doing. So I'm hoping to get that quick turnaround and to just become a full, because so many people, I see so many other fighters like who train and that's it. It's like, how do you afford that? Like they're probably living at home, which is smart. I would if I could. And they usually work at their gym. But like,
yeah, it sounds like you got a good job though. I mean, I get it. Like, the money's good. You got to, take advantage of it. Right. So that's cool. You fan of any other sports or just MMA? I don't know if you watch any other stuff.
I see I've never been a huge sports watcher. Like I watch wrestling here and there. I like wrestling. But no, I don't watch a ton of sports. I used to watch when I would watch football, the Saints were my team.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And no video games, I guess, or no Netflix, I imagine, because you probably don't have time for that.
I watched One Piece. It's an anime. I love that shit. I've seen every single episode. There's like 1,000 of them, 1,025 or something. I read the manga too. I spend my time, like I play D&D. So I spend my time doing that, hanging out with friends, watching anime.
I feel like Israel Adesanya made anime like a little bit cooler, right? Like it was always pretty. Like I respect the people who are into it. I think I've watched a little bit of it, but I think it's such a cool genre. And typically you'd think like, oh, only nerds do that, but then you got a guy like Adesanya who's UFC middleweight champion, badass. He's like embracing it. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think anime is getting popular. Like there's been a steady trend of athletes and celebrities coming out. Like, yeah, I like anime, and so anime is definitely getting more popular. Just globally, especially in the US. And yeah, he brought it. He was like one of the first ones to bring it to MMA to have more of their fans there. So yeah, he was huge for that.
And this is a huge fight, man. I'm looking forward to it. Dana White's Contender Series, August 2nd. Billy, thanks so much for doing this, man. Again, we talked about it. You don't have much time these days, so I appreciate it. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow my Instagram, Billy M. Goff. Follow my Twitter, same thing. Follow my team's page, Team Dexter Valley Tudo. You can watch like all of my journey and my teammates' journey. Jake Kasky, Austin Shala. They've been a huge help. They're my main training partners in there every day, and they're going to be fighting soon as well. So my sponsors, Flats Tattoos, Bushetto Training, Nummy's Bakery, the Cardboard Kids.
And you probably got all the rest of them on your social media, right? You're always posting on there.
Yeah, no, they're but yeah, huge thanks to everybody supporting me and like constantly pushing me to do better, and it means a lot. And I'm excited to make it worth it.